Welcome if you got them.
Because the John LeBang Show will be right back
After this. That's guaranteed. Yes. Pane in the Glass, commercial and residential window cleaning. For a beautiful, sparkling shine that's crystal clear, call Pane in the Glass Window Cleaning. You can find them on Facebook at Pane in the Glass.
Hey, man, you're listening to the John LeBang Show, man.
That's good. That means you ain't stupid.
Okay, iDork, prepare to do the next test of the temporal reflector detector.
Acknowledge. Calculating parameters. Levels optimizing.
Prepare sample for time travel.
Sample in place.
Okay, hit it.
Sample no longer reads.
All right, now reverse.
Acknowledge.
Oh, that's not
Sample destroyed.
good. Good thing we used an apple. Well, we better cancel the experiment.
Acknowledge.
Better go back to our drawing board.
You're listening to the John LeBang Show.
Join the radio revolution right here.
It's better than some good tie stick, man.
Yes, I would like some too. Wow, some of these weekends just go right on by, and I hope you glean something from these broadcasts this weekend and every weekend. You, my listeners who have been with us from the very beginning, and of course, any of the listeners in between then and now. We have a few announcements before we get to this final few things I want to discuss. We've got some upcoming guests, and I want to give them a quick pub right here, a little promotional for their upcoming interviews. And we have Derek Shelmerdine joining us next week in hour number 2. We're going to be talking more rock and roll unraveled. I'm not sure what we're discussing, but I did throw him a little tidbit of what I might want to talk about, and that's the best frontmen of all time, and hopefully that'll be what he wants to discuss. We're going to knock that out during the week, and you'll find out next weekend. Coming up on, October 14th, we have fellow IRN radio talk show host Kevin Holly going to be joining us. We're going to be talking about his radio show. We're going to be having a lot of fun, just yammering around, and hopefully you'll find that interesting, and we expect you to tune in for that. And then one of our biggest interviews ever is coming up on October 27th. We're going to have the author of The Unseen Hand and The New World Order, Ralph Epperson himself. He'll be joining us. He has a specific subject that he would like to discuss, and because we do cover controversial subjects, I thought, sure. The subject that he wants to discuss that night is the debunking of the theory of evolution, which should be some interesting conversation. I would expect that most of my radio listeners will tune in that night and chime in and give us their 2 cents. Some people who are going to be on the side of evolution, who are going to want to defend it, who are going to want to pick holes in Mr. Epperson's presentation. And then we're going to have the people who are of the creation belief, who will probably stop in and support Mr. Epperson's work. Although I'm not really sure if he is, in his debunking of the theory of evolution, if he is saying that creation is the only alternative to evolution. So we hope to see you all here to join us for that. That'll be October 27th. Again, Kevin Holly on the 14th, and author of Rock and Roll Unraveled, Mr. Derek Shelmerdine, will be here next week in the second hour. And one of the things we promised in the first hour and never got to, and I figure we better get it in here before we head on out of here. There's a report from some Ivy League schools, a study they did, estimating that the illegal immigrant population is 22 million people, not 11 million people, as the government tells us. And that's quite a bit different, and it would also fall in line with what the government normally does. They always underestimate the bad stuff and overestimate the good stuff. So if that's the case, the problem of illegal immigration is twice as large as we thought it was. And no wonder it's a problem, and no wonder the Democrat Party has a hard time going against the illegal immigration, because they rely on votes from those people and they rely on money from those people. And if the study is true, 22 million illegals on top of all the legal immigration, on top of everything else, and there's no way we're going to be able to deport this many people, and there's no way we're going to be able to make it hard enough on these people to make them leave, because there's enough of them to where they can grow within their own little tribal community there, because especially with the Latino community, there's a huge camaraderie between all these people that come from these South American and Central American countries. We've got about 6 or 7 minutes left. I've spoken to I don't know how many friends in the past month, and a lot of them are discouraged, a lot of them are downtrodden, a lot of them are feeling like they can't get anything done. Keep telling them, and I'm going to tell you, if you want to strive to be something, then just do it. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. It's going to not pay well in the very beginning. But a lot of people live their lives, and then they realize, as so much time has passed them up, that they're in their 40s now or getting close to 50, and they realize they haven't done a whole lot of anything. And that's why people have bucket lists. I never waited for that. I've always strived to live a life that was something I wanted, that was something that made me happy. I had to supplement a lot of that, because what I chose to do, which is not the most intelligent thing, but it was what I wanted to do, and that was be a rock star for many, many, many years. And unless you make it big, unless you hit stardom, and it was so hard as a solo artist, because you couldn't get people, unless you paid them, you couldn't get people to show up to do their parts, to improve the situation, to become a great band, to move forward. It was very difficult. And even paying people, which I have done in the past, even paying people doesn't get them there as often as you would think. But I still wanted to achieve all the goals that I had as a youth. So I went at it, and I did the whole thing. Didn't work out musically, even though I did a few tours. I went to Seattle. I tried to get signed, put out albums on my own. When I was younger, I think it happens to a lot of us. When we're younger, we have people in our lives that tell us, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. I wanted to put out an album. Way before it became something vogue in this area anyways, I wanted to put out an album of my music. I didn't have a band, I didn't have a record label, I didn't have anything that was going to be a support structure to make that happen. So what did I do? I got myself a book, and I educated myself on how to record and release an album. I cherish that book. I would still have it to this day if I didn't loan it out, and the person I loaned it to never gave it back. And now I never hear from them again. But I learned how to record an album from scratch, how to promote it, how to produce it, how to distribute it, how to get people interested in you, how to write letters, and all these sort of things that go into promoting a project from the ground floor. I've taken that into other realms now. And after many years of trying and having to do it all by myself, there came a point where I was too old and I had too many financial commitments to continue to put out albums. Or else I'd be still putting out albums today. But we're working on that, folks. That's another story. We're working on something like that, and we'll talk about that in the future. But people told me I could never put an album out. You can't do it. You didn't even graduate high school, dude. You quit school, right? You can't do it. What did I do? On my own, I put out 5 albums against all odds. No one there to help me. Everybody in my family just about either didn't support me or they told me I couldn't do it. I had an uncle who literally had this, literally, his son was a complete worthless piece of doggy dung. And because I was trying to do something with myself and he got a hold of my very first cassette, he came over and threatened me and told me I'm just a terrible person and I could never do it and I should just give up. And if I would have listened to him, I would have given up long time ago, but I didn't. And I put these albums out. Well, in the last few years, I've decided to take on a new endeavor, and that's called radio talk show host. And you don't know how many people said, dude, you'll never do it. You got no education in it. You can't do it, fella. You can't do it. 6 years from putting out the very first John LeBang show, I'm on over 40 stations in 5 countries. I produce one of the best broadcasts anywhere of any one of my peers. I even could compete with the big boys. And I did it all on my own. No help. Nobody to support me. People telling me that I couldn't do it along the way. I had one of my best friends try to sabotage me because it took time away from him. We're not friends anymore. So when I hear people that are feeling sad or down because their life isn't the way they should have, the way they wanted it to be, I look at them and say, then change it. Do something. Put your efforts into making your life what you want it. Now, I may not have the money, ladies and gentlemen, but I've long since cared about money. You know what money brought me? Money brought me poverty. And it doesn't matter how much you work and how much you make and how much money you have in your bank account, because if you're not happy, then it doesn't matter. And when I hear people procrastinating or saying they can't do it or they want something different or they want a better life or they want something, I'm like, then do it. Then go out and do it. Don't tell yourself you can't do it. You can do it. Just like that Adam Sandler movie. You can do it. You can do it all night long. Don't be afraid. Fear is the biggest thing there is to holding ourselves back. Go ahead and push for those dreams, the dreams that you want, the ones that'll make you happy. And as long as you don't care about the safety net protecting you, you'll make it through it somehow. But we all are worried about our safety net. So we don't fall, so we don't hurt ourselves, so we don't ruin things. But if you don't take any chances, you're never going to reach that golden height, the peak of the mountain, because you were too afraid to do it. Time to get on out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for joining me. I want to thank all of my affiliate stations across the globe. Don't forget to go to that website. That's www.jlebang.com. And until the vibrations of my vocal cords reach your ears again, this is John LeBang telling you to go out and get the job done. Signing off now from the Banger Studios. Awooga!
T-minus 10, 9, 8,
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.